cover of the milk can is found inside the barn on the grassy floor. 15 minutes earlier, I had left it in place in the stable.
If you sort of take this in isolation, these quotes from his journal kind of sound like things Werner Herzog would say. Hold hands and close your eyes. It's midnight, and you're listening to the Ghost Story Guys. Welcome to the Ghost Story Guys. I'm Brennan Storr.
I'm Paul Bestall.
And this is the show where we talk about spooks, specters, and all the other things watching us from the shadows beyond the campfire. Some conversations only make sense after the sun has set, and this is most definitely one. Thanks for tuning in. This is episode number 244, and we're coming to you from that tiny mountain cabin you dream about, but can never quite reach. Paul Bestall, my friend, how goes your World Cup journey?
This is the first World Cup where I've thought, I can't wait till there's a break. Because usually, after every round, you'll have a day or two of real rest. But we haven't had that. It's been non-stop, and it will be till next week. And then we get 2 days off. So, you know, it is what it is. But I'm not going to miss 5 a.m. kickoffs. I'm going to tell you that, mate.
I am. So it's a 5 a.m. kickoff. That's midnight my time.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, so yeah, that explains why the bars are so full so late at night.
Yes, absolutely. It's always a good excuse to carry on drinking.
I'll say. I got to take advantage of that excuse.
Exactly, you're missing out, mate.
I know the other night I went to go see, I think it was Leviticus, the horror movie about, and afterwards I went to a bar and I caught the tail end of a game. I want to say Jamaica and someone else, or maybe Haiti, maybe? Is it possible it could be Haiti? Haiti? Yeah, that's it. Okay, yeah. And I caught the tail end of that in a bar of this place called, I think, Public Gardens. Yeah. They just so happened to have a seat left at the bar, so I went and had some pasta and had a few Negronis and watched whatever it was happen. But man, there were some people in there deeply invested in that shit.
Yes, well, they were playing Morocco.
That's what it was. Yeah, I was so buried in my pasta, I wasn't coming out of there. I was eating my pasta and I was reading Tim Renner's Josh Cutchin's The Brimstone Deceit about paranormal smells. So I'm sitting there hoping to Christ no one's reading it over my shoulder, because I'm sitting in a bar, everyone was watching a sports game, and I'm reading my goddamn book about weird ghost smells. Actually, that happened the other night too. I was there's a bar I've kind of adopted as a regular, kind of a couple blocks to the east of me, or to the west of me rather. And I went there the other night and just sat there and again read about brimstone and the smell of sulfur in paranormal encounters, and hoping to Christ no one's reading this over my shoulder.
There are worse things you could be seen reading in public. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Well, that's true. I remember I once gave a guy when I was traveling. He was my couch surfing host. I gave him my copy of Naked Lunch that I just finished reading. And he messaged me when I was a couple days after I left. He said, "Hey man, I'm not reading this anymore because I'm afraid someone's going to look over my shoulder on the train and wonder what the fuck I'm reading."
I mean, it is one of the most famously odd books ever. So, I mean, I'd be more concerned
as a
if
movie,
they didn't.
But odd.
Well, yeah. This is true. This is very true.
Had some people over to watch that. That was a mistake.
Well, talking of books, our good friend Luke Phillips has released his latest book today.
Oh, no kidding. What's it called?
It's called Dark Tides.
Very cool. So what's it about? Does it continue the rogue story, or is it something else entirely?
Completely separate. So we're going under the seas as a high-tech submarine vanishes without a trace, and a maverick scientist and his team have to go look for it. And suddenly they realise that predators that are supposed to be extinct and not exist are rising from the ocean's depths to terrorise the Earth. A kraken destroys the Faroe Islands fleet. Monsters attack Japan. But what is going on? So I've only downloaded it today, so I've not had a chance to even dive into it. But that's a very brief synopsis.
Cool. Well, I cannot wait to read that. I loved Rogue, so I am all about this.
Absolutely, yes. He's said he'd been doing something a little bit different, so I'm excited to dive into that, with pardon the pun.
You are excused. Speaking of which, that Kraken movie is out. I think it's available to rent. I haven't had a chance to check it out, but that's on my list the next couple days.
Yes, unfortunately, it was released here the day before I came over to my mum's. So there was a special offer on Amazon. It was only £5 to buy it. So I bought it, and I've not had a chance to watch it because I'm not pissing about changing my logins for my mum's telly. It can wait.
I'll wait till you watch it then. I was gonna rent it, but I will hold on.
It's too good a deal. It was £6 to rent it or £5 to buy it. I thought, what? Who's this advertised at?
I feel like this doesn't speak well of the film, but we'll reserve judgment until we watch it. Speaking of films, well, speaking of which, this past weekend I went back to London to finish cleaning out my apartment because my last day of residence was technically today. So I went there to finish the clean, and while I was in the area, I went to St. Thomas, and I had dinner with John from Union General Coffee, his lovely wife Martha, and their daughter Georgia. And Martha, they all listen to the show, so hello to everyone when you hear this. They were chuckling about how much you hated thrash. That came up in the conversation about just their deep enjoyment at your utter disgust for Netflix's thrash, and they watched it themselves, and yeah, we're all on the same team essentially.
Yeah, thankfully I rewatched Cocaine Bear again the other day and forgot. And I mean, I'm not going to forget. It's still great fun, that film. I love it.
Such a good movie. Cocaine Bear was everything thrash wishes it could be.
Absolutely. The problem you'll often get is that people, I think if you set out to deliberately make a B movie, you'll fail.
Yes, I agree.
And if you set out to make a really good monster film, usually you'll succeed. And I think that's the difference with Cocaine Bear, is that obviously Elizabeth Banks knew exactly what she wanted to do with that film.
I forgot she directed that. Yeah, of course.
And obviously when you look at things like Sharknado and the like, they don't work because they're designed for that. You know, they're not like, I think the last best example of that is Eight-Legged Freaks that came out about 20 years ago, which is a great film.
So much fun.
That's when I learned that they shave tarantulas for horror films.
Really?
Yeah, to make them look more menacing. So they tend to give them a trim on their legs to make them look more menacing.
They just kind of trim around the base to make them look bigger? All right. Well, folks, I thought we had something pretty scary lined up for this show, but it turns out nothing will ever be as scary as shaved tarantulas. Just saying it kind of makes me nauseous. However, we're certainly going to try and outdo the shaved tarantulas with what is a pretty spectacular poltergeist story today. We're going to be reading from our old friend Hans Holzer's book, Ghosts, and we're going to be sharing the story of the Leuthold Poltergeist in Maschwanden, Switzerland. So, we're going to be sharing some stuff from Hans Holzer's Ghosts. But before we do that, we have to thank our patrons.
This one's for the patrons.
Patrons, we could not do what we do. That is, make fun of Hans Holzer while still milking his legacy without you. So thank you. Thank you, thank you. For real, guys. Every single person who downloads the Ghost Story Guys, you help make us who we are. But people who can support us financially on Patreon, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, you are a different breed, and we are deeply appreciative of every single one of you. And while we'd like to thank every single one of you, right now we'd like to thank our latest subscribers, including a whole flood of new people on YouTube, which is very exciting.
Woo.
They are
Beth Cadwell,
Nicole May,
Beth G,
Elizabeth Berthold,
and Laura.
And then over on YouTube, we have Ali Ray,
Misty Mountain,
Cookie,
Kawaiko,
JCN Roberts,
Rosanna,
Sarah C,
The Unreal Wife,
Gorbash. Sounds like Sean Connery saying garbage.
Gorbash, Roberta Newman,
and Tony Tone. Again, thank you from the bottom of our terrible hearts. We truly couldn't do this without you. And if you would like to help keep the show going, join our community, get access to things like early ad-free release, bonus conversations between myself and Paul, extra episodes, our monthly live stream, our Ghost Force shoutouts, our patron-only Discord, and so much more, you can click the link in the show notes. You can go to patreon.com/ghoststoryguys. You can sign up to become a Cabanista on Apple Podcasts, or you can join us on YouTube. All right, Paul. Are you ready to dive into the pages of outdated terms for referring to people who do not look like you and me? That is Hans Holzer's ghosts.
I am. I'm also ready for a poltergeist with a vendetta against bags of flour.
I could not think of a flower pun. I sat here until blood ran out my nose. I tried. Folks, you have no idea how much I edited out of that. There was a lot of silence there.
Don't worry about it, Petal.
We're going to take a powder. We'll be right back.
Hey!
Welcome back. So, as I said before the break, on this episode, we're going to be reading another chapter from Hans Holzer's book, Ghosts. Before we dive into it, and we'll talk about it more as we go along, I assume you're familiar with this case, Paul.
Yes, like I say, it's quite an intriguing one for a very strange case set on a farm in probably one of Europe's most chilled out and very sedate countries.
We are, of course, talking about Germany. Famously chill Germany. All right, so, again, this comes from Hans Holzer's Ghosts. It begins. Paul Leuthold is a man in his late 40s with a pleasant personality and reasonably good educational background, perhaps better read than most farmers in other countries, but certainly far from sophistication or knowledgeability in areas of philosophy or the occult. He has a wife and 2 children, a son, now in his 17th year, and a daughter, a few years younger. Life on the Leuthold farm, a modest-sized establishment consisting of a house, stables, acreage, and perhaps 24 cattle, housed in stables directly across from the farmhouse, on a narrow street in the little village of Maschwanden, was normal and routine year after year. That is, until the year 1960 rolled around. In the cold, moist fall of 1960, the Leuthold family and their homestead became the center of a poltergeist case unique in the annals of Swiss psychic research. The cast of characters at the time consisted of Paul Leuthold, 48, Mrs. Leuthold, 47, daughter Elizabeth, 10, son Paul, 13, and a maid named Elfie, aged 18, who was somewhat mentally handicapped, a factor not to be overlooked in cases of this kind. I would love to see an explanation for that. There was also an Italian handyman named Angelo, who was at the farm only a part of the time during which the uncanny happenings took place. This sounds like the setup for a giallo film. Next door to the Leuthold homestead stands the house of the Eichenberger family. Mr. Eichenberger, 50, was an active spiritualist, a rarity in Switzerland. His wife, 45, is a simple woman without any interest in the subject, and there were 4 children ranging in age from 3 to 9 years old at the time. At first, the strange events only puzzled the Leuthold family, and they did not suspect that anything unusual was happening. But when no human agency could be found responsible for the moving of objects, disappearances and reappearances, and other obviously mischievous actions in and around the house and stables, it dawned on Leuthold that he was the victim of a poltergeist, and he began to take notes. Between November 12, 1960 and August 20, 1961, no less than 104 separate entries were made by him in his Diary of a Poltergeist. They were brief, to the point, and without any attempt at a rational explanation. That he left for others to ponder over. His first entry dates from November 12, 1960. November 12, 6 p.m. The large metal milk can has moved 3 yards to the west. At the time, stones were thrown against the window. No one there. November 13th, 6 p.m. The milk container with 18 liters of milk in it has disappeared. We find it again at a far corner of the stables. November 14th, 6 p.m. Neighbor Eichenberger's umbrella stand disappears and the scraper, usually at the staircase, is found outside against the wall. Same day, half an hour later, 2 boots disappear from the stables and are later found in the feeding area behind the potato rack. Mrs. Eichenberger, the neighbor, brings our pig bucket, which she found in the cellar next to their umbrella stand. My wife had fed the pigs barely 10 minutes before and left the pig bucket in the stables. How did it get to the cellar? Every day now, something disappears, moves from its accustomed spot, and reappears at a strange place. Such things as milking accessories, very necessary in the daily work of a farmer, are not where they should be, and this interrupts the normal life on the farm. 2 bicycles are suddenly without air in their tires. Another inconvenience, since the Swiss use bikes extensively. Most of these events take place around 6 or 7 p.m. Leuthold examined all possibilities of pranksters. His own family and household were always accounted for at critical times. The village is small, and strangers lurking about could not escape attention. Certainly, not that often. As I carefully examined the written notes of poltergeistic or other uncanny activities in the Leuthold house, I realized that it was certainly worth looking into. Consequently, I telephoned the farmer and we arranged for a visit the following afternoon. The Swiss television network had evinced great interest in my work, although they had never heard of the Maschwanden case, or, for that matter, of any psychic investigation. It took an American to bring the entire area to their attention, and Paul, here he goes. This is classic Holzer. It took an American to do a man's job. Come on, shut up, dude. Just shut up. Shut up and tell the story, Holzer.
Yeehaw.
But we won't pay for this, you understand, he said with careful Swiss frugality. Which, I don't like to typify any country, but I will say the Swiss are notoriously cheap.
Well, that's what happens when you have cantons.
Cantons?
Yeah, that's what their regions are called. They're called cantons.
Interesting. Okay. I don't know why. I don't like the way that sounds. Please inform them.
Okay. Yes, because there was a famous case the other year about someone who wasn't Swiss, who'd moved to Switzerland, and she tried to stop the cows wandering the pastures with bells on. And so they basically said, well, we don't care because you're not Swiss. So either move away or put up with it.
I mean, if you're moving to the Swiss countryside, you got to expect some cows with bells on.
I think they just expected mountains and those kinds of people that love vistas but hate nature.
Of course.
They're like, oh, why? You know, like when you move to a country village here in the UK and people complain about church bells ringing. You know, why did we move there then?
These are like the people here in Canada who move to our city centres and then bitch about all the bars and clubs around them.
Yeah. Or people who move next to a cricket pitch that's been there 50 years before their house was built and complain about cricket balls landing in the garden.
You know what? I just made a surprised face. I don't know why I'm surprised.
NIMBYs. Get on my nerves.
I feel like we need a more emphatic name for them, but probably nothing that I'm going to come up with on the show.
I've got several, but I'm not going to repeat them here.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, that's fair. I think I'm on board with you there. All right, so we've got the setup. We've got a farm in Switzerland where things are moving. And I think this is, again, especially in Switzerland. I tend to think of the Swiss as a no-nonsense country. You know, they're too busy finding places to spend Krugerrands to worry about faking poltergeist phenomenon. You know, it's like, how do we melt down all these gold teeth? These are the important questions the Swiss are asking instead of, how do we fake poltergeist activity? No comment from Bestel. I'm on my own there. That's fine. And our 5 Swiss listeners are done. They are done with this shit.
I've never been to Switzerland yet.
Well, it's not the US. They're not going to bar you from entry just because you're mean to them.
Well, that's true. They do have a nice train that you can eat cheese on.
I bet they do, yeah. No, I bet the whole thing's powered by gold bars with a very particular stamp in the center. Yeah, it's a Hindu for good luck. That's what it is. You want to take it from here?
The next afternoon, my wife and I joined 2 newsreel reporters, one handling the camera and the other the sound equipment, in a station wagon. We rode along the outskirts of Zurich, over a couple of hills and out into the open country to the west of the city. It took us more than an hour to get to Maschwanden, a village with very few people, especially Americans, ever visit. When we reached the Leuthold, how have you pronounced it at the beginning? Because I missed that. Is it Leuthold?
I said Leuthold, but Leuthold might be better, might be more accurate.
When we reached the Leuthold farmhouse, we were expected. While the television people started to set up their equipment, I lost no time asking Paul Leuthold about the most memorable incident in the haunting of his house. My wife and I were inside the house. Suddenly there was a knock at the door which sounded as if it was made by a hard object. My wife was in the kitchen. She left her work and went to look outside. There was no one outside. Shortly after, there was another knock. The maid was downstairs in her room, and she didn't see anyone either. My wife went back to her work. Soon, there was a third set of knocks. This time, she was alerted and kept close to the door. As soon as she heard the knocking, she jumped outside. Did she see anything or anyone? I asked. She saw a piece of wood, about a yard in length, hitting the ground from about a height of a foot. You mean a piece of wood moving through the air by itself? Yes, the wooden stick was there in the air, all by itself. Nobody could have thrown it and run away. It was plain daylight, too. I examined the wooden stick. It was a heavy piece of wood, weighing perhaps half a pound. How did the whole thing get started, Mr. Leuthold? I asked, and he brought his diary and showed me an entry. November the 18th, 5:15 p.m. The cover of the milk can is found inside the barn on the grassy floor. 15 minutes earlier, I had left it in place in the stable.
If you sort of take this in isolation, these quotes from his journal kind of sound like things Werner Herzog would say.
November the 18th, 5:15 p.m. The cover of the milk can is found inside the barn on the grassy floor. 15 minutes earlier, I had left it in place in the stable. The next day, he added, the cover was again found in the ash can. Charming, I said. May I see the book? The entries followed each other in the orderly, clinical manner of medical history. Only the patient was invisible. November 19th, 5 a.m. I plug in the motor of the cider press and leave it to do my milking chores. Suddenly, there is a singe boot in the middle of the barn. The milking pail floats in the water trough. I decide to check on the cider press. I hear the motor sputtering as I reach the cellar. I find that the plug is pulled out and the cable pulled back about 4 yards. That day was a particularly busy one for the ghost. At 7:30 a.m, Leuthold finished his first meal and returned to the stables. I turn on the light and fetch a container full of unthrashed corn which I placed inside the barn, in front of the door leading to the stables. Elfie, the maid, is busy washing milking equipment at a considerable distance in the feed kitchen. I leave for a moment to go to the bathroom. When I return, I find the light turned out and the container of unthrashed corn gone. I find it upside down in the middle of the barn, and next to it, a broom, which had not been there before either. But that wasn't the end of it by a long shot that busy morning. Half an hour later, Mrs. Leuthold appeared in the barn and asked where his watch was. Where it always is, Leuthold replied, somewhat cross. On the window latch where I always hang it when I clean the cattle. Not so, his wife replied, and dangled the watch and chain before his eyes. She'd just found them in front of the stables on top of a milk can. That very evening, one of their cows was due to give birth. Consequently, it was necessary to have all the help available present for the occasion. But the poltergeist was amongst them. 9 p.m, the following are present to help with the birth. Schoolteacher Strickler, Max Struder Jr., Werner Seidler, my wife, Elfie the maid, my son Paul and myself are in the stables. The spout of the milking machine disappears under our eyes. We search and finally find it tucked away in the aluminum shelf that holds the rubber nipples. My wife Elfie to lock the house while we are all over here. The maid returns and the key is gone. Later, we find it on the windowsill outside, but we had left it on the lock on the inside.
So I sort of have a sneaking suspicion that she found his watch in Elfie's room, and this whole poltergeist thing is just his way of trying to explain that away. No, baby, it's a poltergeist.
Well, we're dealing with an aluminium shelf full of rubber nipples, so who can say?
This is the Swiss version of that old Irish song, 7 Drunken Nights. You know, when I came home on Monday night, as drunk could be, there were old boots beside the bed, where my old boots should be. Yeah, this is the Swiss version.
Well, sounds like it. By midnight, it was all over. The calf had come, and the Leutholds went to bed. But the uncanny phenomena did not cease. From the direction of the pigsty, there was a loud whistling sound. It changed direction from time to time. There are people in front of the house still up who hear it too. Elfie, the maid, complains about the noises. The moment she is out of the house, the whistling stops. By 2 a.m, all is finally quiet. I asked Mr. Leuthold to show me the ash can in which the milk bottle cover was found, and the potato bin where it showed up next. The lid of the potato bin weighs about 20 pounds. Anyone placing the aluminium cover of the milk can inside it must have had considerable strength. 2 people had to pull it to open it. All was quiet now for a few days, and then the mysterious event started up again. December the 1st, 6:30 p.m. I opened the door to the stables to do my milking chores. Everything is normal. My wife arrives a few moments later and opens the same door. This time a hay fork is leaning against it from the outside. "Where's the plate for the cat?" my wife wants to know. "Next to the milk can as always," I reply. It isn't. My wife finds the plate on top of the refuse. The light goes on and off by itself.
My wife wants to know why my scarf is hanging off of Elfie's bed. I tell her it's the poltergeist again. Because when I came home on Tuesday night, as drunk could be, I saw a head upon the bed where my old head should be. I assume you know that song, Paul?
No.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know how old it is, but it's an Irish song I've heard the Dubliners sing. And it's basically just this guy describes coming home drunk 7 nights in a row. And each time it's very obvious that his wife is having an affair, but she just lies to him because he's drunk and manages to convince him that what he thinks is happening is not happening. So there's a jacket hanging on the peg where his jacket should be. And she says, that's a blanket that my mother sent to me. And then every time she says something, he kind of reasons, well, many a day I've traveled 100 miles or more, but, a blanket with buttons on I've never seen before. When she says the boots are flower pots, he's like, well, flower pots with laces on I've never seen before. Or there's a pipe upon the chair where his old pipe should be. It's a tin whistle. And from there it gets pretty crass. There's a head upon the bed where his old head should be. And it's that's a baby boy that my mother sent to me, and of course, a baby boy with his whiskers on, I've never seen before. It gets pretty raunchy, but it's a lot of fun. 7 drunken nights. Boy, I'm glad I asked, because otherwise I was just going to continue referencing something you had no fucking idea about. That's comedy right there. Quite laugh.
Well, I kind of gathered it would. I kind of gathered it was a traditional old Irish song, so it would either have been performed in the modern era by the Dubliners or the Pogues, I would imagine.
Yeah, Dubliners is the one I'm familiar with. And funny enough, I think the version I've heard from them, they only do 5 of the nights, because the other 2 nights are, not safe for work for the 1980 or whatever it was when they sang it.
I find it hard to believe that the Dubliners would censor themselves.
That's what I think it's Luke Kelly. I think he says, we're only going to do the first 5.
Must be some archaic sort of obscenity law wherever they were. Mind you, if they were performing it in Ireland, I wouldn't be surprised, actually, in those days.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I just have to imagine, this is Ireland. We don't admit that sex happens. We don't want to get anyone's hopes up.
Well, the last thing anybody wants to go is to end up in one of those awful washaterias that they ran.
Oh, yeah, well, Jesus Christ, let's not delve into that. That's going to bring the mood down.
No, let's stick with Hans being snobbish about the Swiss.
You know what's great for a lighthearted podcast? A conversation about the crimes of the Catholic Church.
In Ireland.
Yeah, specifically in Ireland. I mean, we could pick pretty much any country.
How many years do we have?
It's
the only organisation that outshits the British in Ireland.
Suddenly this conversation becomes Spotlight 2.
Well, I'm quite glad of the Catholic Church in Ireland. They're the only organisation that runs the English close.
That's fair. Yeah, you've got to have some competition. Took me a second to process that one.
We can't do it all on his own. Come on.
Speaking of very classy things, I was reading this old copy of Fate magazine I found at Brown and Dixon bookstore a couple months ago. It's from April 1957.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very cool. I'll show you on the camera here.
Oh.
So there was a thing in here I saw, which I had to share. It's under their reports from elsewhere. And it's a sighting of a UFO in Altadena, California on November 7th, 1956. And it's essentially an orange ball of light was seen by 2 police officers over Rosemead and San Gabriel Boulevard. And it's an intersection in Altadena. The light moved off, dimmed, and went out after a period. And I bring it up because the name of the deputies who saw it, which I think would fit with the very classy conversation we were having a moment ago, D. Demergen, okay, fine. And then W.E. Dickensheetz. I've never seen that name in my life. So either someone was screwing with these guys or the Dickensheetz family decided to change their last name.
Dickensheetz.
I mean, in the previous story, they refer to an amateur astronomer named Alvin Holderbacher, which I've never heard that name either, but that's a little less flagrant than W.E. Dickensheetz.
Yeah, we're in Poindexter territory here, aren't we?
It was what do you call it? A more innocent time in the 50s. Not everyone got made fun of for their last names the same way.
No. Which obviously the amount of Americans that came here and suddenly realised that the name Dick was a completely different kettle of fish in the United Kingdom may have surprised.
I'm not proud of how much time I spent on the tube laughing at the name Cockfosters.
It's a great tube station.
I never made it out there. I just, whenever I would get on the tube at Heathrow, it would always be towards Cockfosters. And because I'm a very mature grown up, I would usually laugh 3/4 of the way to my stop.
Yeah, well, we're quite fortunate here where I live, because we've got the lovely town of Penistone. Peniston. Penistone.
Just west of Bumming.
Well, we have got another village in the Peak District called Chatham.
I mean, we've got Dildo, Newfoundland, but we're not very good at it. It's just that's so obvious. Dildo, we're not really good at this creative filth, because the English know that if they ever directly talk about sex, everyone involved will just turn to stone, like a troll who sees sunlight. So you guys had to find a sort of like roundabout ways to refer to it in your town names.
Yes. I mean, there's a town, is it Germany or Austria? There's a town called Fucking.
Sure, yeah, I've heard of that one.
And I'm not sure if there's a town called, there's something else similar. And I know Fucking have had real problems with British tourists turning up and stealing the signs.
I'm shocked.
I'm stunned.
Man, you guys you really are the America of Europe.
It's just a nice memento, isn't it? It's not the worst thing. It's not the worst thing we took from Germany, is it?
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, they're kind of sensitive, but you guys coming over there and taking stuff now.
You're gonna stop us?
Well, I remember being a kid. When you're drunk, you just start stealing street signs. You're like a pack rat when you're 20, 22 years old. These things have no value, but you can't take them, right? You just realize you're kind of figuring out the world. You're like, I can just pick this up and take it home and no one can stop me because it's 3 a.m. This sawhorse cannot fight me.
Yeah, we once took a whole set of roadworks home and put them around a mate's bed, like loads of cones and flashing lights, and just left them there till he came round in the morning.
What did he do with them afterwards?
We lied and told him he must have been really drunk and done it himself, and he believed us. He believed us for ages.
That's amazing.
I mean, it's been quite amusing. The World Cup has discovered, America have discovered Scotland's wonderful penchant for road cones.
Oh, I'm not familiar with this.
They put road cones on statues as hats, and they've done it everywhere they've gone. On every statue they've seen, they've put road cones on it, and it just baffled the Americans for ages. But it's a tradition. Set most famously, I think it's St George's Square in Glasgow. There is a famous statue there of a chap on a horse whose name escapes me at this current time, and they have for years tried to stop people putting a road cone on this guy's head, and it is now so synonymous with Glasgow. You can buy it on postcards, on fridge magnets. You can buy pictures of it. It is one of the most iconic images of modern Glasgow.
What you're telling me is that pretty soon I'm going to see a presidential briefing where they talk about the Antifa terror coneheads.
Yeah, I think that's how they ripped that pool open.
Fuck me. Yeah, they're 300-foot swords that they dragged across the bottom.
Just a sharpened road cone.
Of course. We've cracked this case wide open, Paul.
It's obvious. It's the Tartan Army. It's their fault.
We're going to see that. And as soon as this episode goes out, that's going to be in the news.
Bring it. I'll talk to CNN.
I know you will.
I'll pretend to be Scottish as well. Hello!
Oh, no! All right, where'd you finish off?
In the mental home.
Well, yeah, that's very...
I'd got to the light goes on and off by itself.
Flickering lights going on and off by their own volition are old stuff with hauntings. In the Rockland County Ghost Case and Ghost Hunter, I reported similar happenings which drove to distraction a certain Broadway composer, then guesting at the Danton Walker home. Evidently, the Swiss ghost had discovered the usefulness of the lights in the stables, for a series of incidents involving the electric installations now followed. December 2nd, 5:15 a.m. The The light goes out by itself for a short time. The plate for the cat disappears again, and is discovered on top of the refuse, like yesterday. I put it back on the refuse. Suddenly the light goes on by itself in the barn. There is no one there who could have turned it on. That day turned out rather significantly for the Leutholds, since it brought the first visual phenomena to their tranquil midst. The incident with the knocks at the door and the subsequent discovery by Mrs. Leuthold of the stick of wood suspended in the air, described earlier, took place that day around 10:15 a.m. Saturdays are unusually quiet periods in the small towns and villages of Switzerland, but not this time. Leuthold's diary continues. December 3rd, 7:35 a.m. Suddenly the light in the barn goes on. I go to check on it and notice that the light is also on in the hayloft. I turn out both lights and go to the stables. Just then I clearly hear knocking in the hayloft. I go up to look, but there's nobody there. Since it is getting lighter outside, I turn off the light in the stables, but suddenly it is on again. I am busy distributing the fertilizer. I go inside, turn the light off again. Shortly afterwards, it is burning once more. Werner Frey, a tractor driver, was passing by at that time. He saw the light. There was, of course, nobody about who could have done it. December 4th, 8 a.m. The lights go on by themselves in the barn. Elfie is in front of the stables and asks if everything is quiet. It is now 8:30. I reply in jest, "The ghost is gone." Within seconds, the light is on again in the stables, although no one could have gotten in to do it. Turns out he's just really bad at wiring in his own lights.
If they are wired in.
Well, yeah, there's that too. At one time, 4 lights were burning simultaneously, although no human agency could be held accountable for it. For weeks on end, the Leutholds were harassed by the poltergeist's game of turning the lights on. Finally, I said one day, Leuthold explained, "It is strange that the lights should only go on, but never off by themselves." I had hardly finished when I stood in total darkness in the stables. The light had been turned off. "As if the ghost were listening," I said. Leuthold nodded and smiled somewhat sheepishly. "But it really got worse later in the week," he said, and showed me the entry for the 8th of December. December 8th, 7:40 a.m. Elfie goes to feed the chickens, but the pot containing the chicken feed is gone. She finally finds it in front of the barn door. 6 pumpkins used for decorative purposes are scattered around the yard. The rabbit hutch is open, and 2 rabbits are running around outside. The feed tray for the rabbits has disappeared. It is later discovered by my wife on a cart in the carriage house. Evidently, the ghost headed in for the domestic animals as well as the people. I don't know, he let the rabbits out, that seems cool.
Freedom!
Yeah. December 9th, 7:30 a.m. The pot with the chicken feed is gone again. The plate for the cat is again on top of the refuse heap. Elfie prepares new chicken feed in another pot, puts it down for a moment on the stairs, and goes into the kitchen. When she gets back, just seconds later, the new chicken feed is also gone. She comes to tell me about it. I go back with her and find the chicken feed hidden behind the stairs, covered with a burlap bag. The Leutholds were beginning to get furious. Mr. Leuthold decided to trap the furtive ghost. Oh, this should be good. She put the chicken feed pot onto the windowsill near the house door and tied a nylon string to it, with a small bell at the other end, putting it down in the corridor leading away from the entrance door. That way they thought they would hear any movements the pot might make. By 9:30 a.m., the pot had moved twice in both directions, yet no human agency could be discovered. That very afternoon, the poltergeist played a new kind of trick on them. When Mrs. Leuthold entered the barn around 2 p.m., she found all sorts of boots scattered around, and in one of them 4 receipts for cattle, which Mr. Leuthold distinctly remembered to have placed high on a shelf that very morning. The ghost stepped up its activities in the following days, it seems. Not content with moving objects when nobody was looking, it now moved them in the presence of people.
Mm.
And when I think of poltergeist, Paul, I think that's what I always expect, is things being moved in front of people. I guess I just hadn't thought about there'd be a lot of these cases where things kind of move when no one's around.
Well, that's often the sign of it intensifying. It's very rare that it just basically turns up roaring like a lion. It usually starts with little things in most cases. You know, things being moved around, that kind of, sure, I put my keys there. Why is that still on? Why is the light still on upstairs? I thought I turned it off. What's the point? It's those little things that you kind of start questioning yourself. And then the agency seems to develop, and that's, in most poltergeist cases, it's when things start moving about, or it starts something small like scratching or weird noises, or you can hear shuffling, and then it begins to intensify from there. So it's often well, I suppose it depends on your idea of gentle mental trauma. It starts off fairly gentle, but obviously this guy's just sending everybody bonkers, moving stuff about and pissing about with the animal feed.
Which it's one of those things where I don't think necessarily we consider what a pain that would be for someone in their situation, because like it's not just like shaking out biscuits, onto a plate. You got to prepare this stuff, and presumably you have a limited number of supplies because you're a little ways out in the country. So it's like back when I did Strange. There's an old story from this one house of a ghost bumping a woman's laundry basket down the stairs, which back then was a giant pain in the ass because laundry took a long time to do.
Yeah, you'd need a mangler.
A mangler?
To dry it.
Sorry, literally the only reference I have for mangler is the film The Mangler, which is like a giant steam press that rips people's arms off.
Yeah, well, the old manglers used to be part of the washing, so you'd like get your scrubbing board and you'd wash your clothes on it, and then you'd have a mangler and you'd pull the clothes through it, so you'd press all the water out and then you'd hang it.
Fascinating. So a mangler is a real thing. They just make up that term for the film.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I had no idea. I just assumed it was for the film.
Yeah, it's like two big bars put together with a crank on it, and you just rotate it, and you used to put clothes through it. So a lot of laundries and washing, that's how you would do it in that kind of setup up until the advent of washing machines, really. I mean, I'm old enough to remember my grandparents having a vertical washing machine where you put stuff in the top, and you had to like push it about and all sorts. So that, it's crazy when you think back to it. That's like 45 years ago, and now we've got washing machines that can talk to you.
I was going to say, I've got a washing machine in my apartment for the first time ever, and I can't imagine having to like churn it myself. That seems like a real, I got to be honest, I'd be doing a lot less laundry.
I remember Grandma used to have a massive pair of tongs, because obviously it was boiling hot water as well.
Oh, of course, right.
Because everything was like 80 degrees. There was no cottons and, delicate cycle. It was like everything gets washed at fucking lava temperature. Or you'd have a bath when you were a kid. It's red hot. No, it's not.
Oh, God. Which is coincidentally how my wife still has her baths.
Well, that's a British tradition.
Oh, okay. It's just in the DNA at this point.
Yeah. It's got to be room temperature of lava.
This has been my experience. When we moved into a place where we couldn't take baths together, I was thrilled. Because it's that old cliche, right? Like, oh, a nice romantic bath. No, it's not romantic. I'm a wide man. We're squeaking around. It's uncomfortable. This is awful. And then the place we moved into in 2011 the bath was quite narrow, and I was never so happy.
I've never been a fan of being in a bath with anybody else, especially after seeing the Eddie Murphy Brown Shark sketch.
Okay. Yep. That is fair. Look it up, folks. Lee Evans does a great bit on taking baths together in his, I want to say one of his specials from the O2. It's like from 2006 or 7. But he's got a great bit. That and eating by candlelight. He said just these two things that we think are going to be really romantic, and they're just not. In the end, you're screaming, just turn the light on. I'm not Charles fucking Dickens. You want to take it from here?
December the 10th, 9:30 a.m. The light goes on by itself in the hayloft. The missing pot for chicken feed is finally found near the door of the old stables. 6:30 p.m. The light goes on in the barn, but nobody is there. I put it out just as Elfie enters and tells me the milking brush is gone. We look everywhere without success. Just then, I notice the umbrella which is usually found in front of the house door hanging from the windowsill of the pigsty. Elfie takes it down and replaces it next to the entrance door of the house, and we continue our search for the missing milk brush. Suddenly, the umbrella lies in front of us on the ground near the stables. 3 times the lights in the barn go on, and I have to put them out. There is, of course, nobody in there at the time. Whatever happened to the missing milk brush, you'll wonder? The next morning, a Sunday too, Mrs. Leuthold was doing her chore of feeding the pigs. In one of the feed bags she felt something hard and firm that did not feel like pig's feed. And you've guessed it, it was the milking brush. The Leutholds were glad to have their brush back, but the joy was marred by the disappearance of the chicken feed pot. If it wasn't for the pigs, if it wasn't the pigs, it was the chickens the ghost had it in for. "I remember that morning well," Mr. Leuthold said grimly. "I was standing in the stables around 7:45, when the light went out and on again, and a moment later something knocked loudly in the hayloft, while at the same moment the light went on in the barn. I didn't know where to run to first check. Those who suspected—" Here we are, there's a great— this is damned by Frank Perez if there ever was. "Those who suspected the somewhat simple maid, Elfie, to be causing these pranks did not realise that she was not consciously contributing to them. She herself was a victim, along with others in the house." Well, that's nice. It's nice that simple Elfie's a victim too.
Look at this.
Thanks,
Look at this fucking buffoon. Look at this cruel joke of a human. They think she's capable of anything. Oh, what rubes, what clowns. This doddering mass of cells which barely manages to remember to draw breath on a daily basis. How could you think anything of this poor thing? All right, Hans, stop helping.
I'm amazed they even know what an umbrella is. Never mind, own one.
He's such a prick.
On the 12th of December, for instance, she put the milk cart into a corner of the barn where it usually stood. A few minutes later, however, she found it in front of the chicken house. That same day, Paul Leuthold again came to grips with the ghost. It was 9:15 in the morning, and I walked up the stairs. Suddenly, the window banged shut in the fruit storage room ahead of me, and there was no draught, no movement of air whatsoever. "Your wife mentioned something about the disappearing applesauce," I said. "This sounds intriguing. What happened?" "On December the 13th, Leuthold replied, refreshing his memory from his diary, "my wife put a dish of hot applesauce on the windowsill next to the house door to cool it off. I came home from the fields at around 4:30 in the afternoon, and to my amazement I saw a dish of applesauce on the sill of the old stable across the yard from the house. I went to the kitchen and asked Elfie where she'd put the applesauce. Why, on the kitchen window, of course. Silently, I showed her where it now was. Shaking her head, she took it and put it back on the kitchen windowsill. A few minutes later, we checked to see if it was still there. It was, but it had moved about a foot away from the spot where we'd placed it. That, however, was only the beginning. All day long, things kept happening. Parts of the milking machine disappeared and reappeared in odd places. Lights went on and off, seemingly without human hands touching the switches. These switches, incidentally, are large black porcelain light switches mounted at shoulder height on the walls of the buildings, and there's no other way of turning lights on or off individually. At 7:45 p.m, dinner time, the entire family and servants were in the main room of the house. The barns and other buildings were securely locked. Suddenly the lights in the barn and chicken house went on by themselves, and the following morning, auditory phenomena joined the long list of uncanny happenings. December the 14th, 6:50 a.m. As I leave the chicken house, I clearly hear a bell striking and lingering on for about half a minute, coming from the direction of the other barn. But of course, there was no bell there. "This is going too far," Mrs. Leuthold remarked to her husband. "We've got to do something about this." She took the chicken feed pot and placed it again on the stairs from where it had disappeared some days before. Then she tied a nylon... Hang on, have I gone up at page too much there? No? I'm sure she's not gone on about that before.
I've got it in my copy here too.
Yeah, so she must have done it again then. Right. I was confused there. I thought I'd gone back to the page before because it's exactly the same thing. It didn't work last time, but she's trying it again. She took the chicken feed pot and placed it again on the stairs from where it had disappeared some days before. Then she tied a nylon string to the pot with a small bell on the other end. The string she placed inside the corridor leading to the door and almost but not quite closed the door. In this manner, the string could be moved freely should anyone pull on it. The family then ate their breakfast. After 10 minutes, they checked on the string. It had been pulled outside by at least a foot and was cut or torn about 2 inches from the pot. The pot itself stood 1 step below on the one that Mrs. Leuthold had placed it. Once in a while, the ghost was obliging. That same day, around 8 a.m, Elfie the maid took a lumber bucket to fetch some wood. As she crossed by the rabbit hutch, lights went on in the cellar, the hayloft, and the chicken house. Quickly, Elfie put the bucket down to investigate, and when she returned to pick it up again, it was gone. It was standing in front of the woodpile, some distance away, where it was needed. The daughter Elizabeth also had her share of experiences, as Leuthold reports. December the 14th, 5:30 p.m. Elizabeth is busy upstairs in the house. She hears something hit the ground outside. Immediately, she runs downstairs to find the 6 ornamental pumpkins scattered around the yard, all the way to the pigsty. When she left the house again an hour later, she found that somehow the carpet beater and brush had found their way from inside the house to be hung on the outside of the door. And so it went. Every day something else moved about. The chicken feed pot, or the boots, or the milk can. The lights kept going on and off merrily. Something or someone knocking at the door, yet there was never anyone outside. Nobody can knock and run out of sight. The yard between the house and the barn and the village street can easily be checked for human visitors. The milk cart disappears and reappears. The washroom window is taken off its hinges and thrown to the floor. The manure rake moves from the front of the barn to the inside of the washroom. The pigsty gate is opened by unseen hands, and the pigs promenade around the chicken house. The lights keep going on and off. Even Christmas did not halt the goings-on.
So, I know I said previously that one sentence sounded like something Werner Herzog would say, but that last paragraph sounded like something Tom Waits would write. The pigsty gate is opened by unseen hands, and the pigs promenade round the chicken house. It's uncanny. Speaking of all things spooky, actually, I had a great message from our patron, Rin, when I was driving back to London on Saturday night. She went to go see Patton Oswalt live in Maine, Gardner, Maine. And she says, Patton was fun, but Stephen King was in the audience and went back to talk to Patton after the show, so there was no meet and greet. No shade, I would have made the same choice. And yeah, that's fair, Rin. I've done the same. She's screen capped Patton's post from the show, and he's there with King. And Rin says, and I'm sorry, Rin, I'm reading this on the show because it is funny. I have to admit something that I'm so embarrassed about, but okay, here I go. I got out of my seat because a couple of people were going to go down our row. One of them was him. I was standing next to Stephen King but didn't notice him because his friend was being twitchy and took my attention. I noticed when they left that one of them was using those walking sticks with the arm support. It wasn't until I saw the picture that I put it together. Rin goes on to say, I used to be able to find a celebrity in a crowd. I'm out of practice.
Happens to the best of us, Rin. Happens to the best of us.
That's it. I won't tell it here. I'm going to save it for the next Talk Spooky, but we also had a really funny celebrity encounter that someone sent in from here on, from Vancouver with Zach Galifianakis. So, but again, we'll save that to the next Talk Spooky.
Okay.
I'm curious, before we keep going here, Paul, because we're getting towards the end of it, what is your experience with this case? Has time kind of reassessed any of these things? Has anything come out in the interim, or not in the interim, since this case to sort of cast it in new light?
It's completely overlooked, and if you look for anything to do with hauntings in Switzerland, I doubt you'll find it. It's just not talked about anymore.
Fascinating. That's so interesting to me, because I understand like a lot of what's happening is pretty mundane stuff, but it is still happening, and I say mundane in that things are being moved. It's not like a voice is coming from the toilet or whatever. Like, it's not something terrifying, but it is undoubtedly something paranormal. It's strange that this has just kind of fallen away.
It is odd. I'm not really sure what the reasons are. You're more likely to find information about the Tatzelworm than you are about this particular case. And now you're going to say, what's a Tatzelworm?
That was my next question. The name sounds familiar. I think we've talked about it before, but refresh my memory.
Yeah, so the Tatzelworm, one of the great things about this is the first witness of the Tatzelworm. So one day back in the 1970s, one day back in the 1700s, Hans Fuck was walking in the mountains when he was startled by two creatures. Fuck raced back to his family to tell of a hideous creature with the 7 long foot body of a serpent, clawed feet, and the head of a cat, before dying promptly of a heart attack from fear. And so this creature is whatever, is it weird snake hybrid? Is it a chimera? Is it a dragon? Wherever. So it's probably the most famous monster of Switzerland, really. And so it's peculiar because they've got stories about fairies and the devil, and they've got a white lady and all that kind of stuff. But this particular case, for one reason or another, I mean, I'm aware of it because I've seen it in a couple of Poltergeist books from the 80s, but I don't think people look. It's one of those, because it's a European case. I mean, this is the good thing. I mean, as much as we poke fun at Holzer, at least he went around the world looking for these cases. And being a German, he obviously had a bit of a buy-in because he was bilingual. So he could go to these places and speak to people and he would have a better understanding of it. And I think that's the one thing we lack these days, is that we have an international researcher of that level who is actively searching cases from around Europe.
100%. I know, and I might have addressed this at one point before, but I know we had someone ask us, because I like to poke fun at Holzer for being a kind of a fame whore, and for, again, he's just using language that was common to the time, but is no longer appropriate. But I've had some people say, well, if you don't like the way he speaks, why do you still use his stuff? Right? Like if he's kind of, I don't know what the term is, but if his language isn't, sort of appropriate by modern standards, just, kind of leave him in the dust. But the thing is, if you do that, if you kind of force every piece of research or knowledge you consume to conform to modern moral standards, to say it's tossing out the baby with the bathwater is I think underselling it. Holzer, again, for all his faults, like you said, he did the legwork, and I don't think there's anyone else doing that right now. In fairness, because they can't afford to. I would if I could, but that's not how things have shaken out.
Yeah, well, not everybody can be married to a countess.
That's it. I tried to get Nick to spontaneously become nobility, or let me marry into nobility. Just like, hey, baby, we're just going to do a little bigamy, just a tiny bit of bigamy, but it's for a good reason. And she was all, I will hit you with this rolling pin. It was the whole thing.
This taser's charged.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's weird. She had that one just lined right up.
This is bear spray.
I just saw a video, funny enough, of before we started on Instagram, of this dude with a fishing rod who was shouting at these girls for no reason I could ascertain. Yeah, admittedly, the video kind of starts partway through the conversation, but he's the dude's probably in his 50s, and these girls are, I would say, in their teens or early 20s. They appear harmless, but he is just screaming at them. And then he goes to charge one of their other friends, so they bear spray the shit out of him. And I kind of don't blame them. I get these girls weigh like 80 pounds.
Yeah.
This guy could do some damage if he wanted to. And I just can't. I can't think of a single scenario where that kind of aggression is appropriate against a bunch of people who cannot really fight back. Like a forest back road.
Well, that's the reason those people do those kinds of things, because they're cowards.
Of course, there we go. I always forget that part.
Yeah, the internet is full of amazing takedowns of people with bear spray. There is a fabulous clip from LA, I think it is, and there's some guys auditing, so they're filming, and this wannabe gangster turns up, starts trying to threaten him, and they just give him the bear spray. Basically, tries running off, and he smashes his hip in, so then he can't walk properly.
Oh no!
So he starts and it makes him look like he's doing a sexy walk. And he just keeps walking into cars. And he's crying, and then he tries to come back and say, I'm really sorry, and shake their hand, but he's just waving his arms about and everything. It's brilliant.
Well, at least, I will say, at least he apologized. Bear spray guy in this clip did not seem to have any kind of remorse for what he'd done. But I will say that says a lot about someone, that they can get the bear spray and then they go, not, I'm coming back and I'll be here with a gun. But hey, suddenly I have reevaluated my position and you are correct.
Yes. Straight to the eyes. Works every time. Even people with sunglasses can't fight it.
Oh, that's it.
It's great. It's really entertaining if you find that on Reels. Honestly, you can dive in for days.
I had this one moment. I think I told you about it, but when I went to go see that Canada Day screening of Scared Shitless, it was in a community center in Toronto, and the screening that came before it was paying for it. A film, another Canadian film about sexuality, starring the former MTV VJ and author Soo-Kyin Lee. So I got to the theater early, and because I look like a walking hate crime, I periodically will have people, usually people kind of part of the LGBTQ community who kind of see themselves as like protectors. They'll kind of brace me and give me shit, which I understand where it's coming from. I totally understand where it's coming from, especially things right now. Things are so fraught. Guys who have shaved heads and, resting bitch face, it's a thing, right? But I was going into the community center, and this tiny woman, very small woman, probably about my age, just gets right up in my face. Where are you going? The Small World Cultural Center? Oh. And she just changed completely. She goes, oh, okay. I guess that's over. We start walking, and she goes, hey, I'm really sorry. I'm just really protective of those guys. And I thought that was the sweetest thing. You know, I totally get it. Because I look, like I said, I look like the Charlottesville March, the guy. So I totally understand wanting to protect people from me, even though I am relatively harmless. Unless you're a buffet.
Tequila.
Oh, yeah, if you're tequila, you're in real trouble. December 24th, 3 p.m. My cousin Ernest Gauchi and I are talking in the stables when suddenly the light goes on in the middle of the afternoon. 5:30 p.m. I enter the barn to give the cows their hay when I notice the lights go on by themselves in the old barn. I go back immediately and find the dog howling pitifully at the light switch. I went on to the house to see if anyone was outside, but nobody left even for a moment. My son, Paul, returns with me to the barn. It was he who had left the dog tied up outside half an hour earlier. Now he is tied up inside the barn and the barn door is locked. How did the dog get inside? Evidently, the poltergeist had now begun to turn his attention towards the dog. If this poltergeist fucks with that dog, I will find it.
Yes, me too.
December 25th, 7:30 a.m. The dog is found locked into the stables. Yet, half an hour ago, Elfie left him roaming freely outside after giving him his food. February the 2nd, 5 a.m. I went to the stables and the dog, which slept in the barn, followed me into the stables. He became noisy, and one of the calves seemed to get frightened, so I said to the dog, "Go outside at once." As I am turning around to open the door back into the barn for him to let him out, I see him already outside the barn. Who opened the door for him? I didn't. The children also got their attention from the obnoxious spirit. That same day, February 2nd, Leuthold reported in his diary. February 2nd, 6:15 p.m. The 3 sleds, which normally are stacked in the corner of the barn, are found across the manure trough. The Leutholds took their unseen visitor in stride, always hoping it would go away as it had come. Their spiritualist neighbor insisted that Leo the Ghost, as they had dubbed it, was somehow connected with Elfie, a notion the Leutholds rejected instantly, since they were in an excellent position to vouch for the maid's honesty and non-involvement. The phenomena continued unabated. March 14th, 6 a.m. The window in the dining room is taken from its hinges and found in a flower pot in front of the house. 7:30 a.m. My slipper disappears from the barn and reappears in another part of the stables beneath a shoe shelf. March 29th, 7:30 a.m. The dog lies in the yard. A few minutes later, he is locked into the old stables. Everybody in the house is questioned and accounted for. Nobody could have done it. 7 p.m. Elfie and I empty the skimmed milk into 4 pails, which we then place next to the door to the pigsty. At 9 p.m., we found the 4 pails directly in front of the door. This is why we pasteurize milk, folks. This is why we don't drink it raw. Elfie got married in April, and presumably her uncommitted vital energies were no longer free to be used in poltergeist activities. I would love to sit Hans Holzer down, Paul, and demand to know what he means by that.
It's a very strange thing to say.
Her uncommitted vital energies. That sounds a lot like Dr. Strangelove's corrupting our precious bodily fluids.
I would suspect, as many people have mistakenly attributed over the years, that sexual tension is one of the reasons for a poltergeist infestation to begin. And so I presume he was trying to tie the fact that she was no longer a virgin because she was married, and therefore her sexual frustration had been released.
If there was any kind of truth to the idea that sexual frustration created poltergeist activity, it would look like I was constantly podcasting from inside an active tornado.
Okay.
It would constantly look like Godzilla had rampaged through my living room. Since that's not happening, I think we can discount that theory. Where was I? Paul is dealing with dog sounds on his end, so you might hear him a little less. But he is laughing at my hilarious jokes, although that wasn't a joke. That was actually true.
Well, I was going to say, if that was true, surely every incel's house in the world will be haunted.
Yeah, that's exactly
none of them are getting laid. Pam and her 5 lovely daughters don't count, guys.
All right, so since Alfie's uncommitted vital energies were no longer free to be used in poltergeist activities, the Maschwanden ghost did not obey the standard rules laid down by psychic researchers because they're fucking wrong. Obviously, that's not Hans Holzer saying that. That's me. The disturbances went on, Elfie or no Elfie. August 9, morning. As I clean my boots, I find below the inner sole a small tie pin, which I had missed for 3 months. August 10th, 5:30 p.m. A pitchfork is left stuck in a bag of mineral salt. It took 2 men to pull it out. Half an hour before, the same fork was still in the barn. August 19th, 4:45 a.m. Angelo, the Italian, he said derisively.
There are worse words he could have used.
Well, that's true. Yeah, this is the Swiss man. This is Leuthold. This is not Hans Holzer. No doubt Hans Holzer would have had much more choice words. The damn dirty dago. I'm Italian. I can say that word.
That's the irony of Switzerland, obviously, because they speak French, German, and Italian.
Of course, right? Yeah.
Schweizerdeutsch. As bad as the Scandinavians with their 73 languages they all learn.
I know, showing off.
Talented buggers.
Showing off. My country has 2 languages, and I can only speak one of them, and that one not very well.
Technically, you've got a lot more than 2, haven't you?
Okay, 2 official languages. We have many, many languages. All right. Where we go? Elfie's gone. The Italian is missing one of his boots. He finds it 3 yards distant inside the barn and a heavy pitchfork on top of it. Similar events took place for another few weeks. Then it gradually became quiet again around the Leuthold farm. I looked around the house, the stables, the barn. I talked to all members of the family except the Italian, who had only shared their lives briefly, and Elfie, who had left long ago for wedded bliss. I asked, did anyone die violently in the house? Paul Leuthold Sr. thought for a moment. About 10 years ago, we had an Italian working for us. His pride was a motorcycle, but he could not afford insurance, because we didn't pay him enough. One day he decided to return to Italy with some friends for a vacation. To get an early start, they would leave around 3 a.m. The night before, my mother warned him, be careful, and don't get home with your head under your arm. He replied, shrugging, if I am dead, it doesn't matter either. Well, that sounds Italian.
Thanks for the warning, I don't care.
If I die, I die.
It's like that crazy situation they had when they finally brought in the law about wearing a seatbelt in Italy.
Oh, I hadn't heard about this.
And so, all of a sudden, everybody started buying white T-shirts with black stripes on them.
Jesus Christ.
So it looked like they were wearing a seatbelt. So they'd rather pay it for a T-shirt than wear a seatbelt. And it went on for quite a while. And it's not as far gone as you would think. It's fairly recent that happened.
I mean, there are people who still bitch about having to wear seatbelts, so I'm not surprised. All right, so let's wrap this up here. So the Italian, he started an hour late the next morning. When he got to St. Gothard, his motorcycle started to kick up. The other fellows went on ahead and promised to wait for him at the height of the mountain. He went to a garage and had his machine fixed, determined not to miss his colleagues. He would have been better off had he stayed behind. For a short time later, a piece of rock fell down on the road and killed him instantly. And do you think it may be his ghost that is causing all this? I asked. No, I don't, Leuthold assured me. I'm only wondering who is doing it. Well, thanks for telling me that totally pointless story, man.
Well, I thought it was Elfie's virginity that was causing it. Now it's a dead Italian farm worker.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, there was no virginity in that man's possession. Motorcycle boots and mommy issues, 1,000%, but no virginity is detected. So I remember when Italy won the World Cup, and I was in Revelstoke at the time, and all these dildos I knew who basically were about as Italian as Panera Bread were just driving around, sitting in the back of their truck, honking their horns, waving Italian flags and going, Italia. Give me a break, guys.
Yeah. You see it here where everybody turns up, as we call them here, plastic paddies. St. Patrick's Day. You get everybody turning up just to get shit-faced on Guinness, and nobody, the vast majority of them don't have an Irish bone in their body.
Oh yeah, 100%. We call that a Dropkick Murphys concert. I love the Murphys, but Jesus. All right. I gathered that Leuthold had some suspicions about his neighbors. Could an active spiritualist cause such phenomena to happen? Not a spiritualist, I assured him, but maybe a black magician Well, that'll quiet things down, Hans. Thank you. Nobody had died violently in the house or farm, but then an older house of which we knew nothing may have stood on the spot. The Leuthold children are now beyond the age of puberty, where their untapped energies might have contributed to the power to make the phenomena occur. My guess.
Again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's it. Again, I told you, that's why I liked your interview with Steve Maris so much. You guys dispelled that. And so now it's hard for me to read these things and not be like, come on. But I guess that was just the prevailing theory, so it's easier to sort of assume it's that.
Well, it's that post-war period where, we're having a sexual revolution and psychology's coming into it and people are finally working out that sex can affect people or whatever. And
women can have orgasms. Holy cow.
What's the point in that? Because it's those kinds of, there's just these really odd, it's half a lifetime away these days, but it is odd seeing this. This is when was this book published? In the 60s?
I think so, yeah.
So even as we're about to enter the era of sexual liberation and feminism and gay rights, the general consensus in the paranormal is that sexual frustration in teenagers causes poltergeists.
We're about to enter the space race, and we're still struggling with sex. Like, they had to go to the moon to find a clit. Like, it's not here, so I guess it's not real. Sorry, folks, I couldn't help myself. There's a comedian, I think she goes by M. Flemley on Instagram, and she does a lot of these videos of the typical 50s housewife or bored 50s housewife, and they're always very funny. She's got it down, the transatlantic accent, she's got the red hair, the blue dress, and it's always like spot on, that sort of terrible 50s existence where you're basically just either drunk or on pills or going insane. And she has a great running gag about the mailman or the milkman, which is, where most of her frustrations get vented. It's really funny shit. But all right, so this is the final paragraph. He says, "My guess is that both Elfie and the children supplied that energy. When Elfie left and only the children were available, the phenomenon gradually faded away. They have not returned since. They are not likely to, unless, of course, another unwitting supplier of such energy moves into the house. The discarnate personality behind the disturbances may still be lurking about, untamed, waiting for another chance. If this happens, Mr. Leuthold can bet that the ghost hunter will be on hand too." I enjoyed that so much, I'm not even going to point out how douchebaggy it is for him to refer to himself as the ghost hunter in third person.
That is always the sign of someone who's detached from reality when they begin to talk about themselves as in the third person.
Wow.
Paul's found that story interesting.
Any last thoughts on the Van Leuthold or the Leuthold farm poltergeist?
I think it's a very interesting case. And like I said, when you asked me about it, I think it's one of those that's been completely overlooked. And I think, once again, we are stymied by the fact that we do not have bilingual researchers out there who, especially in Europe is, as we constantly do, there are tons and tons and tons of stories from all across the continent, and yet we barely scratch the surface, which is ridiculous, really. And I would love there to be publishers in this country or in America or in the English-speaking world that would take a chance on especially in this day and age, of republishing books from people dealing with weird things. Because I've had a few Europeans on, like people like Fred Anderson, who wrote a brilliant book about weird shit in Sweden, which we'd never have heard of if Fred wasn't bilingual.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, man. I could not agree more. And that's why, when Tord will send us in translated cases, I'm always so grateful.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Germany, prime example. Where's the word poltergeist come from?
Of course.
How many poltergeist cases can most people name from Germany?
Yeah, no, exactly that. And it's frustrating for me because every now and again I'll see articles about how, all these things are only ever seen in the US and Canada. That's the only, if you look at this map where all these UFO sightings, for example, are, or ghost sightings, it's always just in the US and Canada because they love their ghosts. Or or there are reports in other languages which you do not speak. These are the English languages countries that make these easier to find.
Somebody once tried doing that about 6 years ago on the internet about UFO sightings and showed this map going, oh, Americans and Canadians are all fucking losers because they're the only people in the world. But look at this map, this proves it. And it literally took me 2 seconds to think, I know that map. And so I cross-referenced it. And so I just replied, well, it will do, because you're using the National UFO Reporting Database for North America's map there. And therefore, as they are a North American organisation that collects reports from that continent, that's why they're all there, you moron.
Oh, boy.
So this is the thing you've got to deal with, you know. It's just, people will always... I mean, it's like this running joke at the minute. You know, you've seen all these people going, well, why is Curacao or Cape Verde in the World Cup? I've never heard of these countries. Like it's a flex. I'm sorry. You're stupid, and we're supposed to agree with you because you're a moron. If you don't know where Cape Verde... I mean, obviously there's some famous footage. Like there's a map somewhere at one of the host cities where they've got Cape Verde and they put it in South America. It's in Africa. If anybody's unsure where the fuck it is. You know, and they're all like, how do these countries get here? Because they've qualified. You know, the reason Italy out there is Norway, who are now in the last 16, hammered them home and away. And then they fell into the playoffs and they couldn't beat Bosnia, who couldn't beat Canada. So how good are Italy? And that's no disrespect to Canada, but how good are Italy if they can't beat a team who can only draw with Canada? Why should they be there being shit? We don't need it.
This proves my theory that Cormac McCarthy, when he made the judge in Blood Meridian, was just psychic, because he knew that eventually we would be overrun with these dudes who are convinced that if they are not aware of a thing, it doesn't exist or shouldn't exist.
Because there's already footage, because America are playing Bosnia next. And so there's already reports going, I can't point to it on a map. I don't even know where it is, and I don't care. Well, great. But don't judge the rest of the world on your lack of interest in self-improvement, madam. Just piss off.
Amen to that. Well, audience, we don't want you to piss off. We're deeply grateful for every single one of you.
Stay.
We hope you enjoyed the Leuthold Poltergeist, courtesy of good old Hans Holzer and his book, Ghosts. You can find Ghosts, I don't think it's still in print, but I'm sure you can find a used copy somewhere. I got mine from Brown & Dixon Books in London, Ontario. And if you have a story you want us to read on an upcoming show, send it to our email at ghoststoryguys@gmail.com. You can also fill out the form on our website at ghoststoryguys.com. You can find us on Instagram as The Ghost Story Guys. We are on Facebook as The Ghost Story Guys Cabin. We also have our page there, which is just The Ghost Story Guys. We are on Reddit as r/Ghost Story Guys Podcast. And we are on YouTube and the TikTok, both as Ghost Story Guys. We are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Hey there, listeners. Before you reach for that skip 15 seconds ahead button, I promise you this isn't an ad. We wanted to take a minute to talk to you about mental health. On this show, I've always tried to be as honest and open as possible about my struggles with depression and anxiety, because even though we've come a long way towards acknowledging the very real damage these things can do, there is still way too much lingering stigma about reaching out for help. And when you start to feel like there's no help, it's easy to start feeling like there's no hope. But Paul has joined me today to remind you there is always hope and there's always help.
We're not going to try and talk you out of self-harming right now, because we know that's not how it works. Instead, what we wanted to do was tell you something now and hope that should things get bad, you'll remember it and make a phone call or send a text message before you make any permanent decisions. As someone who knows all too well just how important mental health can be, it's never too late to reach out.
In Canada, the number to call is 133-456-4566. In the USA, the new number to call is 988. That's 988.
In the UK, the number to call is 116 123 or text SHOUT, that's SHOUT, to 85258. In Australia, the number to call is 131114.
However bad shit seems, it will pass. And no matter what your brain might be telling you at any given moment, and believe me when I say I know this intimately, there are people who love you and people who care deeply about how you treat yourself. Should a time come when you find yourself despairing, please know that we've both been where you are, and there is a way back to the world. Take care.
Welcome back. The ghost stories are captained by Mr. Brennan Storr.
And of course, my friend and co-host is the one, the only, the inimitable Paul Bestel, the paranormal Johnny Carson himself, host of Mysteries and Monsters. Paul, what's coming up on M&M?
We take a wander around the southwest of England in the company of Hugh Williams as we dive into strange stories, myths and legends from one of the overlooked areas of Britain.
Very cool. And where can everyone find you online?
You can find Mysteries and Monsters across most social media platforms and all podcast sites, good and bad.
Fabulous. I'm largely the truth on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd. You can find my horror fiction show Fear Daily, co-authored with Brandon Scheck-Snyder, everywhere fine podcasts live. And of course, I'm also narrating audiobooks over on Audible. As we said at the top of the show, none of this happens without our patrons, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube subscribers. We are deeply indebted to every single one of you. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. And if you would like to get access to our patron-only Discord, bonus conversations, early ad-free release, and so much more, click the link in the show notes, head to patreon.com/ghoststoryguys, or become a friend of the cabin on Apple Podcasts. And finally, now you can also sign up on YouTube. I've been making sure to upload all the bonus contents to YouTube, and you also get the early episodes on YouTube as well. Paul, my friend, do you have any guest spots coming up?
Yes, I shall be shortly returning to Truth Proof with my friend Paul Sinclair in the next few weeks, but I've not got a concrete date for that. Obviously, I've just done the ASAP one that is available online for anybody who wants to watch it. And I've got a couple more coming up. I'm going to be joining a show in America in August, but I'm not sure when the air date is, so I shall let you know nearer the date.
Very cool. And you, of course, have your first live show coming up.
Yeah. No panic here.
You're going to do fine.
Yeah. So, well, we're on first. The only thing that's really worrying me is it's 10 a.m.
Oh,
I fucking hate mornings.
Fair.
So
Yeah,
I'm
I feel
going to
you.
get up and drink lots and lots and lots of coffee, and just to be able to function. My brain doesn't work on a morning for at least an hour, so that's going to be fun. So yeah, but it's good. We've got a couple of things up our sleeves that have never been mentioned in regards to the case we're going to be discussing. So it'll be the first time for I've got a witness account, and my guest has got something brand new to bring. So neither of them have ever been discussed in public before.
Fantastic. Will that be released as an episode, or is that only going to be available live?
They are very kindly recording it for me, so it will be released later in July when I get around to it. It will be released live, so it's going to be hopefully about 45 minutes. I think the set is, give or take, minor overruns. And I'm very glad I've got a really cool guest, Dr. David Clark, who's been very kind to me over the years, and we've built a nice friendship. So we're looking forward to having a chat. I just hope there's a few people there. That's all. I think there will be, but we'll see.
I have no doubt there's going to be people there, my friend.
I know I've got somebody's messaged me who's coming from Huddersfield, so I can't let West Yorkshire down.
There you go. Oh, that is so cool. And you can always find all our appearances linked in the blog at ghoststoryguys.com. Most of them have embedded players, so you don't even have to leave the website to listen, should you not want to. If you can, leave a review of the show everywhere you can leave reviews. That's iTunes or Spotify, really anywhere. It helps boost the numbers, gets us in front of more people. And if you know of someone who you think would like the show, tell them. that's the best way for us to keep on growing, keep finding new ears, is for people to find us, enjoy us, and tell other folks who like spooky stuff about us as well. If you want any Ghost Story Guys merch, you can head to our website at ghoststoryguys.com. You'll find a selection of stickers, mugs, t-shirts, all kinds of goodies. Again, that's ghoststoryguys.com for your merchandise needs. Our theme song, Radio, Into the Darkness We Go, is composed and performed by Peter Kursov of Pizzanta Music. Find more from him by searching for Pizzanta Music wherever you get your tunes. And I guess that's going to do it.
We'll be back next week, but until then,
Into the darkness we go.
bloody typical that. As soon as you say record,
yeah.
he just went.
I want to be on the podcast, man.
Come right down to Mad Al's yard sales, and I've got loads because it crashed in my back garden.
Hey, finders keepers. It's called salvage.
Yeah.
It's a whole industry now.
He's been lying down until I've started talking, and as soon as I've started talking, he's suddenly sat up.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right, thank you.
You're sowing the seeds of the future US-Scotland conflict.
I learned all my Scottish accents from Highlander.
Is it my turn or yours?
You can jump in if you want. So it's December the 24th.
You heard that too, eh? That weird electronic sound?
Yeah.
I think we're okay now.
Stop now.
Stopped.
Yeah.
I had someone give me shit for using the word wop on a show once. I'm Italian, man. I'm going to use that word till the day I fucking die, and I will fight you for it. What was it? There was one I just read. I just listened to a review of The Wild Women of Wongo.
Oh, what a film.
Oh, you've seen it?
Of course I have. It's a classic 50s B movie.
Well, of course. What was I thinking?
I think it's a Roger Corman, actually. I'm not...
Really? God damn, that guy's been around forever.
Yeah, 1958, The Wild Women of Wongo. Adventure comedy.
Funny for very different reasons than they thought.
Yes. Yeah, I thought it was a Corman. It's not, thank God. Is there anybody remotely famous in it? No.
I hope not.
Oh, what? That can't be her. Ah, no, it isn't. And it says on Wikipedia here, one of the actresses was called Adrienne Barbeau, and then in brackets it says, not to be confused with Adrienne Barbeau.
Oh. Not that one. This is the Temu brand, Adrienne Barbeau.
What the fucking hell? It's a strange thing. I've just clicked on it as we're going on a Wild Women of Wongo tangent. Rex Richards played the King of Wongo. And I was like, who the fuck's Rex Richards? And it says, Rex Richards was a Welsh international rugby union player. He played once for the country against France in 1956. He played for Cross Keys Rugby Union Club until 1955 before he decided to head to Hollywood to try and make his fortune as an actor. Now that is one of the great career changes of life.
That is up there with David Icke becoming a lunatic. Your footballers really go far afield. No pun intended.
But do you want to hear about his terrible close brush with international superstardom that happened after it?
You know I do.
Richards narrowly missed out on one role that would have made him internationally famous. He auditioned to play Tarzan in the reboot of the legendary hero, and out of 1,000 actors, he got down to the final 2 and missed out to Gordon Scott,
who we all remember today. That's a real sex pot name, Gordon.
Gordon Merrill Worshkull. He also played Hercules, Gordon.
So Gordon must have been old school jacked.
He played Tarzan 6 times in the 50s. Every Tarzan film in the late 50s. Oh, Tarzan's Greatest Adventure. We've gone full circle here. So his 4th appearance as Tarzan, Tarzan's Greatest Adventure, 1959. Guess who was the baddie?
1959. Ooh. I don't know.
Sean Connery.
Amazing. Oh man. Now I want to see that. That's got to be even pre Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Oh yeah, it's 1959.
There we go. And what was it called again?
That one's Tarzan's Greatest Adventure.
There you go, folks. Here's your homework.
What a strange role. In his last appearance as Tarzan, Tarzan the Magnificent, the following year, his actual successor as Tarzan played the villain in the film, Jock Mahoney.
Another great actor name that no one remembers today.
Jacques Joseph. There's a lot going on in his name. Jacques, the French spelling, Joseph O'Mahony.
Okay.
And he was born in Chicago.
Oh,
He was of French of Irish descent, if you can't tell with that name.
No, that's a total mystery. That'd be like if the next guy to play Wolverine was the one who killed Hugh Jackman in Logan.
Yeah. He did a lot more films than our other friend. He's only got a partial. But yeah. Wow. Jesus Christ, this gets even worse.
Oh.
So Mahoney was married 3 times with 5 kids and 5 stepchildren. Blah, 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 blah.
Definitely Irish.
Yeah. He next married actress Margaret Field in 1952. Their daughter, Princess O'Mahony, was born 6 months later. Margaret Field already had 2 young children, Richard D. Field, who is a professor of physics at Gainesville at the University of Florida, and his sister, you may have heard of her, called Sally Field.
Son of a bitch. Oh, okay. Well, I'm probably not going to leave that in the show, because that's a bummer.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, fuck Jock Mahoney.
Yes, fuck Jock Mahoney. I took it out because it's a real bummer, folks, but look up Jock Mahoney and you'll find out why we think he's garbage. Not we think he's garbage, we know he's garbage.
Yeah, I hope he died a painful death.
Me too. I do love how the end of this Poltergeist episode has become 6 degrees of Tarzan.